Tomorrow's Teachers Training. What is simaula? Welcome to simaula, a simulation designed to complement the teacher's training practicums. simaula places a virtual practicum in the form of a three-dimensional online world adapted in the context of teaching learning in school. Both active teachers and teachers-to-be will interact with students' avatars, develop lesson plans, and teach in the virtual classrooms. In order to provide interesting and effective learning activities, simaula focuses on the pedagogical side, based on the knowledge of teachers and pedagogic and psychology experts to define the behavior model of the virtual students and create simulations and situations that are both pedagogically and educational sound. In this platform, you will develop the role of a teacher in a biology classroom. You will have the control of an avatar, the teacher, and will develop several lessons with a group of students. Expect them to react in several ways as they would do it in a traditional class, and test your skills and pedagogical strategies to manage the class. The objective is to accompany your students through the lesson, making the appropriate decisions to reach the learning aims. How to play with simaula. In a few sentences, playing simaula means: you do not need previous experience with this kind of games. It has been designed in an easy way. Remember, you are playing a simulation in a three-dimensional virtual world. You will play in the context of a classroom of biology. There are three pedagogical strategies to work with the topics. You will choose the one you think fits better your work at class. You will control an avatar, the teacher avatar. The students' avatars are controlled by the computer. The main way for communication and interaction is by choosing between the options offered by the computer. Students will react according to the elections you make. Your objective is to develop and manage the classroom during the lesson, solving the conflicts that may appear. Let's start to play. Once you start, the main menu appears. Now, you only need to type a name for your session in the user ID field. simaula will allow in the future to play in an offline and online mode. At the time of this test, you will start the session on the online mode. Then you have to choose the language. At the moment of the test, you have 5 languages available: English, Greek, Italian, Bulgarian, and Spanish. We will choose English. Designing your learning experience. The simaula game is divided in 2 phases. In the first one, you have to make some selections that will configure the classroom, such as the resources to use, the technology, the activities to work with, the time for each, etc. Just after all these decisions, all the avatars will appear in the classroom and the teacher-students interaction will start. Phase 1. Configuring our classroom. Following, we choose the curriculum, which will be only one by now: Science and Humanity. Next step, we choose the topic, the cell, in our case. At this point of the game, we have to select one of the 3 types of classroom offered in simaula. Each of these classrooms is related to a specific pedagogical strategy, and so it is related to the way we will work with students. In this first version of simaula, 3 classroom types are offered: problem-based learning through experiment, collaborative learning, Each classroom has its own physical configuration, which will facilitate or make more difficult to develop the lesson. In the next step, we need to choose among 3 different activities to work with the topic, the cell. As with the type of classroom, there are good and not so good activities. During the rest of the game, you will have to select more activities since these activities are the basis to work with the learning objectives. It is important to reflect about the activity to pick because it is not possible to go back. Now we can select some resources to be used for the particular activity you choose. Microscopes, PowerPoint presentations, multimedia projectors and laptops. The type of resources will also affect the success in the game. Once resources are selected, we move to the time selection. In this section, we have to determine how long the activity will last. The score system of simaula will evaluate the real time we spend in the activity with the planned time we are selecting now. The dynamics in the class. Your objective in simaula is to engage your students as much as possible. Pupils' engagement is the result of the pedagogical decisions taken in the design and the performance of the learning activities. Once you have made your selection of pedagogical strategy, type or resources, learning activity, etc., the class starts. The main dynamic is generated through the dialogue between you, the teacher, and the students' avatars. These dialogues are shown in the upper left corner of the interface. Among your students, there may be one or more conflictive students in terms of behavior. These attitudes will be shown in their participations in class. Every time a student says something, you will have the possibility to reply with several options. It's the election of these choices that will determine the success in the class. Also, they will be reflected in the score, student engagement. Additionally, the more bad decisions you make, the more conflictive avatars will appear, as it would happen in a physical class. Check the score from time to time, as is always a good sign to check your own performance. Do not forget to control the remaining time, as it also affects the performance. For each learning objective you have picked, you will have to apply 3 learning activities. Once you finish running one learning activity, simaula will offer you to select a new one to be selected from a group of 3 activities. A particular activity may fit better the learning objective of the class than the other 2, so pay special attention when choosing activities since they will affect student engagement too. At the end of the game, the system will provide you with a small evaluation of your performance with something like this. Our final tip. After finishing a session, you can play again and set up your class in a different manner by selecting other resources, a different pedagogical approach, etc. Playing simaula with different settings is the best way to learn and be conscious of the decisions you make and the consequences of them.